This is the Ford Performance winch that I installed on my Bronco. And now I want to run the configuration in FDRS to configure the restraint control module for the winch. It says when you add a winch, you have to change the configuration because it changes the airbag deployment timing and so on to have all this extra mass out here in the front. So, and that's what's in the instructions. I'll show you that. The reason you change the programming in the restraint control module is given in this warning in the instructions. It's on page 4 of the instructions, and it tells you that when you install the winch, it changes the airbag timing and can make the vehicle less safe. So they say that you have to go in and make this modification so that the airbags work properly if you were to get into an accident. But to program in FDRS, one of the things you need to do is you need to hook up a battery charger. You can see I've got this plugged in. I've got a battery charger running, and the reason is you're going to be having your ignition on, and then it's going to be running your car computers a lot. It draws a lot of power, and you can draw your battery down. What you don't want is for the battery to get so low it quits programming right in the middle of a module. It might mess it up. So you need a battery charger on there. This one is only 6 amps. They say 20 amps if you're going to be doing heavy duty applications for hours. This is a pretty small update, so 6 amps is fine for this. The other thing you're going to need is a cable to interface and a laptop. This is the cable I'm using to interface to the car. It's called Mongoose. You can see that it's by Opus. It's the Mongoose Plus Ford 2, and it's the best cable you can use that isn't the Ford one. The Ford ones are like, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000. This one isn't cheap. It's about $600 or so to buy it, which is really expensive if you're just doing an upgrade like this. But what I found is, this is kind of the cheat code on this, is there are guys on the F-150 forum that will loan theirs out, and they do it for free. What they do is they charge you $500 for the cable, they mail it to you, you can use it, and then you mail it back to them insured. When they get it back, they refund your money minus their shipping costs, but they don't charge you a fee. And it's a nice way to do it. It takes a while because you have to get in line for it and wait until your turn comes up. But that's what I did. I've got this as a loaner from a guy, and it turns out he not only was really good about shipping the cable to me, but he's really knowledgeable on FDRS and gave me some really good guidance on things. Just super nice guy. There's about, well, there's a number of them that are doing this, and it provides a way to do these kind of updates without having to, shell out $600 for a cable that you might use for an afternoon or so. So it's really a great thing. This is the laptop that I'm using, and I have it positioned inside the car just on the armrest, because when you run the configurations, it tells you to turn the ignition on and off, and you need to be right here where you're close to the ignition switch to do that. The other thing is, I'm going to just show FDRS running. I'm not going to show how to install it and how to get a login and get an account and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of good videos on the web that show everything you need to do to get FDRS running. So I'm just going to show it with FDRS up. I'm logged in and ready to start configuring my car. So refer to other videos if you need help with getting FDRS set up. Once I'm logged into FDRS, you can see that I needed to choose the Mongoose Plus Ford 2 cable as my way to interface. The instructions tell you to start at the new vehicle. So you can see this tab up here is new vehicle. And so since I already have my VIN in here, I can just click this one, and what it will do is take me to this. It'll download all the information and then set it up specifically for my vehicle. Now for my VIN, it knows how the vehicle was configured from the factory. Once it loads all the vehicle information, then you're going to see this screen. Then you come up here to Toolbox. You click on Toolbox. You come down here to where it says Restraint Control Module. You click on that one, and now it puts up all of these line items for Restraint Control Module. This is important. You can see that there's the RCM winch configuration. That's the one we're trying to do, but there's an important point here. I'll show you from the instructions, but the winch can only work with the modular bumper. And so you're going to see there's another line item down here, front bumper configuration. This is the overview for the Ford Performance Winch Kit, and if you notice number 2 down here, it says vehicle must have Ford modular front bumper. And it tells you that includes the optional one you can buy and put on later. That's important, as you'll see later in this video. If your Bronco came with a modular bumper, then you're fine. If it didn't, you've got to program it for the modular bumper before it will accept the winch configuration. Mine came with the capable bumper, and so I had to configure it for the modular bumper with this. There's instructions. You can buy the modular bumper from Ford Performance, and it comes with instructions on how to program the vehicle for the modular bumper. Once it's programmed, I'll show you a couple pages from that, and then once you do that, you run that. Well, you run it and configure the bumper, and when that is done, in fact, I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. So if I come over here and I click on Run, then what it does is it comes up here and it asks, which one are you doing? And I'll show you in the instructions, it gives you a specific code, but mine is steel to modular bumper, and steel is the capable bumper. You click that one, then it's going to ask for a specific code. It even shows you a picture. Is that the one you had before, and is this the one you have after? And you come over and you say yes, and then it tells you to turn the ignition on, engine off. So I have the ignition on now without the engine running. I click on this, it says it's loading its data. Please enter the part number in all caps. This is where you enter that number that they give you in the modular bumper instructions. These are the instructions that come with the modular bumper, and you'll notice that they give you a password for different configurations. So if you're going from the plastic bumper to the modular, you use one password. If you're going from steel, or what they call the capable bumper, to modular, you use another number. And then they have numbers in case you're going back from one to the other. So in FDRS, you have to tell it not only that you mounted the modular bumper, but which bumper you came from. Okay, this is the number that you put in if you're going from the capable or steel bumper to the modular bumper. You put in that, you push OK. And then it says, please take note of this 5-digit code. It's just 5 zeros. You say OK. It says enter in your code, which is just 5 zeros. You say OK, and then it starts downloading, going through its process of configuring. And you can see it marches along. It's not too big of a file. Software successfully retrieved. Before commencing, you have to have suitable power. So I have a power supply on the battery. It says don't. Yeah. After it finishes, you get this that says procedure completed, front bumper configuration, procedure completed successfully. You say okay, Application finished, press OK to continue. And then it reads the system modules, and you can see that the front bumper is configured properly. Then when you do the winch, it's a similar thing. You click run. It says it's launching. You tell it you want to install the winch. That's the number you're going to put in when you do the winch, which is different than the number you used for the bumper. After you enter the code number and you get the 50 password, you put that in. It executes very similar to the bumper one, and then in the end it comes back and says winch configured successfully. You say okay, okay, and then it gives you that little circle of pie-shaped things going around and finishes up, and then you can see that it's configured properly here. You put that in, let it run its configuration, and it will configure it for the winch, and then you'll be all set up. So it's pretty easy to do. Like I say, there's other tutorials to show you how to get FDRS working. It's really not that bad. And so you get that running, you do this. It does cost $50 for a 2-day license, so that's a little bit of money. But if you can get the loaner cable and do it this way, it's only $50 plus paying shipping both ways on the cable. So for under $100, you can get this configured properly. And that's about all there is to it.